Reality is weird. Like, really weird. Just the fact that we exist at all is weird. The fact that you are here having an experience, that is weird. How is that even possible? Now, the fact that you are self-aware, meaning that you actually know that you exist, that is weird. That doesn't seem like it was supposed to be possible. But you exist. You're self-aware. You might ask yourself, why would someone feel like it is not right to make somebody else self-aware? Why is it not right to bring someone else into existence? I mean, this is weird, but I mean, it's a miracle. It's weird. It's not something that we fully understand. I mean, it's not something that we understand at all, really. So it wouldn't make any sense, right, to say that it will be wrong for someone else to, create sentient beings, to create conscious beings. Why? Why would someone conscious feel like it is wrong to create more conscious beings? Why would non-existence be better than existence? This is a good question. Why is non-existence better than existence? Why would someone say, nah, let's not create more sentient beings? Because it is actually wrong. I'm a sentient being that's actually willing to continue with this. But I do not think that we should create more sentient beings. And I think I'm right. In fact, I know that I'm right. Why would someone feel like that? I think that's what makes it hard for people to understand antinatalism. Why would you say that it is wrong to bring someone into existence? You are already experiencing life. Don't you see all the great things that are happening? Don't you realize that this is a miracle? How can you hate this? I mean, there are many people who actually love this. How can you say that you hate this? You are evil. You are evil to even hate this. Because there are a lot of people who love it. So you're saying that people shouldn't come and have this experience that you are having because you're just evil, You are evil. You don't want other people to experience what you have experienced. You're selfish. I imagine that that's how naturalists feel. My problem, though, is that when people have children, they don't have children because that's how they feel. You see? But when internatalists decide not to have children, they actually have children because they feel like it is actually wrong to have children. But when naturalists decide to have children, they do not have children because they think that it is right to have children. They have children because we live in a world where having children is glorified, and there are a lot of people who are going to compliment them for having children, and they're gonna have someone that's gonna treat them like some kind of a god. Your child will treat you like a god when they're young because they will perceive you that way. That's why We like children when they are young, you know. They're naive. They don't know what is going on. They do not judge. So they're going to treat you like a god. And people want to feel that way. Like people want to be praised. So that is really why people be having children. We're conscious. We are aware of our existence, but we're also aware of what's happening around us. Do we honestly think that it is best to make other people experience what we're experiencing? Really, like, is this the best that we can do? Can we even create a world that's better than this so that we can justify bringing people here? Can we create a world where people compete only because that's what they want to do? Like the way that people compete in sports, not because they're trying to survive. Do you understand how cruel it is to create a new human that will have to compete? I don't think you understand how cruel that is. I don't think you are capable of understanding how cruel that is. You create a sentient being, right? This sentient being has to compete. This sentient being didn't say that they want to compete. But you force them to compete. And if they don't want to compete, or if they don't compete effectively, you blame them. You ask them, why can't they be like the other people who are competing very well? Why are you a failure? Why are you lazy? Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? You're a disappointment. I don't think people understand how cruel it is to create a new sentient being that will have to compete for survival, and that will be forced to compete not because that's what they want, but because society forces them to compete. Do you understand that people are actually forced to be here? Do you understand that? I don't think people really understand that. Or if they do, they don't really acknowledge that. No one asked to be here, but yet everyone is forced to be here. And they're not forced to be here to just chill or do exactly what they want to do. No. They're forced to do what society wants them to do. And you might say, nah, actually, people are forced to be here so that they'll enjoy their lives, pursue their dreams. Listen, more than 99% of people who are here, believe it or not, are not doing exactly what they want to do. They're part of this big thing, and this big thing requires them to do certain things. You see, they're part of this big thing, this big machine, and this big machine requires them to do some things in order to survive. It's not like they're doing what they want to do. More than 99% of people who are here are working jobs that they don't really want. They don't have their ideal jobs. They had to let go of some of the things that they actually wanted to do in life. They had to let go of desire to actually pursue their dreams and just try to survive. And they're forced to survive. How can you think that that is right? How do you justify that? You can say, we are here because life itself wants to exist. You can put it that way. Life itself wants to exist. That's why we are here. if we stop reproducing, life will find another way to exist. But why do you want to be responsible for someone else's suffering? Because that's exactly the position that you are putting yourself into when you reproduce. Like, well, I'm bringing you into the world. I don't know if you're going to enjoy it here. I don't know if you're going to like it here. I don't know if your life is going to be good here. But, I'm taking the chance. Why do you feel like you must take the chance even if it's not necessary? That is like if you were able to manipulate DNA and you decided to manipulate DNA to create a new organism, an organism that has never existed before. Just because you can do it doesn't mean that you must do it. We don't even know what we are. There are lots of clay tablets that have been discovered that talk about us being like a result of some, genetic experiments. Like we're not exactly like other animals here, We didn't evolve like other animals here. Something sped up our evolution. That's the reason why we are the way that we are. And that's the reason why things don't make sense. We can see that things don't make sense. We're very conscious to see that this is not making sense. We have the intelligence to realize that this is not making sense. So reproducing at this point is more like creating new organisms, by manipulating DNA or by modifying DNA. Like, well, I'm trying to create new organs. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you must do it. You must ask yourself if what you are doing is actually right. And what do I mean by right? Does it not cause unnecessary suffering? That is a very important question to ask yourself. You see, are there not people who are suffering just because of what I'm trying to do? Are there no people who are suffering just because they were born? And they're suffering like crazy and it isn't their fault. And we want to act like that is their fault. We treat people who are suffering as if that is their fault. We treat people who are suffering as if they asked for this. You see the problem? And if they say, you know what? I have suffered enough. I don't believe in this. We say they are crazy. And we abuse them. We take away their rights. Like, this person is depressed. They cannot make their own decisions. Depressed people cannot make their own decisions. Like, do you understand how cruel that is? I don't think people are conscious enough to understand how cruel that is, and it's scary. It's just the fact that people are not that conscious is scary, because what I'm telling you is really the truth. There's no denying what I'm saying, but there's a big chance that some of y'all don't understand what I'm saying. Even though it is true, even though you have no rebuttal against what I'm saying, because it's the truth. You might ask yourself, well, why are you willing to continue if life is so damn cruel? Right? If this is not worth it. To put it more accurately, I don't think it's not really worth it. I just don't think that it's worth it for everyone. And that is my problem. You see? I wouldn't say it's not worth it. If you feel like it's worth it, yeah, maybe you were lucky enough. You were one of the lucky ones for things to like really work out for you. You have to understand that it has a lot to do with luck. Those who didn't get to be where they want to be, those who didn't get to enjoy this, they weren't bad people. They didn't do horrible things, and because of that, they deserve to suffer and all that. No. You were just lucky, and they were just not lucky. You see? I mean, you don't choose where you're going to be born. You don't choose your parents. Some people were born in horrible places. You know, some people were born in countries where there's war, for real, and they had to suffer, you know. Some of them had to lose their parents when they were really, really young. Some of them didn't even get to know their parents, and they were adopted by some of their family members, and they abused them. Like, you know, they've been through. There's some people who have been through hell, not because they've done anything wrong. You know what I mean? You gotta think about those people. And if those people say, yo, man, I don't think this is worth it because of what I've been through, you got to understand, you mustn't be a hypocrite. Because if you have walked in their shoes, you would feel the same way that they're feeling. The problem is this: life isn't worth it for everyone. We cannot deny that there are a lot of people who are actually enjoying the experience. You know, we cannot deny that. You can be born in a very good family, and in a place that's kind of like, you know, complement your character in a lot of different ways, and you just fit in perfectly, and you find that people love you, people respond positively to you. That can happen, but you got to also understand that there are some people who were born in a bad family where they were abused 24/7, and then when they went out, people didn't treat them well, they didn't love them, and they also had to deal with poverty. Like, that, people who have had that experience for real. Like, that's reality. We might not like that to be the truth, but it is the truth. So is it fair that some people have had to have that kind of experience? We might lie to ourselves and say, oh, God has a plan and all. No, we don't know God. You know, we do not know God. We just find ourselves conscious in a world that we do not understand. So we have no clue what is going on. That's if we need to truly be honest with ourselves. I do understand that to have faith is actually good, but you can have faith that is not healthy. Like, just believe in something that you have no, you don't even have like a clue that it exists. You know what I mean? Like, you believe in God. Like, okay, why do you believe in God, and what do you mean by God? I mean, we could be here because this is a simulation and it was created by this evil being that wanted to manipulate us, and it's not really the God that you kind of like believe in. You know what I mean? So it's not really God. It's just some, you know, evil genius that decided to create a simulation and trapped us here and make us suffer. Like, anything is possible. It's good to have faith. You can believe that things are going to work out in the end. That is good, but you've got to also approach it in a way that is healthy. I do have faith. Believe it or not, I actually do have faith. I do have faith that things are going to work out for me, right? But that doesn't mean that I must be like, okay, just because I think that things are going to work out for me, I must bring people into my life and promise them, you know what I mean, things are going to work out or whatever. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't know if things are going to work out. I just believe that things are going to work out. And even if that really does happen, things actually do work out, doesn't mean that I would think that this world is actually good. No. I think life itself is evil because we are bringing people into it without their consent, and that by itself is wrong. There should have been a way for people to actually consent to being born. So if people cannot consent to being born, that is wrong by default. You see, you're creating consciousness or maybe trapping it. Whatever is happening is wrong, and we can see that it's wrong because we know that giving someone an experience that they did not ask for is wrong. We know that if a person was sleeping or a person was in a coma, we wouldn't want to do anything to them without their consent, right? We wouldn't want to rape them without their consent. If there was a simulation where we can transfer their consciousness into, we wouldn't transfer their consciousness into that simulation without their consent, or would we? Because I don't trust humans, but I do believe that people who are rational wouldn't do that. if that person didn't like sign a contract before they fell into a coma, then we wouldn't want to like do that. We didn't want to make that choice on their behalf. We just let them die. Or if, and this is important, and if we made that choice on their behalf, then there would need to be a way for them to actually say, to decide whether they actually want to continue being in the simulation or not. Right? So they become conscious in the simulation. There must be a way for them to say, well, okay, this is crap. I don't know what you guys were thinking. I'm out. Or they say, well, all right, it's fine. But the truth is, it is wrong to give someone this kind of experience. Here's what you must understand about life. This is very important to understand. Life is a very long journey, you know? I remember when I was a kid, man, like when I first went to preschool, I was really young. And that was a long time ago, 1998, if I'm not mistaken, 1998 or 1999. I was really young. And I'm still here. Like 24 years later, I'm still here. 25 years later, actually, I'm still here. And I'm still having this experience. And I still have not figured shit out. I still don't know what the fuck is going on. And I have been through a lot. Why do I continue? Listen. Life itself is addictive. Once you start living it, you get to have relationships with people, and there's always this curiosity that you're going to have. Like, okay, what's the end game? How are things going to end? There are people in my life. What's going to happen with them? You know, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? But you know, you might not really be willing to continue to restart your life over. You know, start like I've made a video 2 years back where I was asking people, would you want to relive your life the way that you have lived it? Because what I believe is that people are continuing to live this life because they have hope. You know, they think that things are going to work out and they kind of want to see how the story ends, but it's not because they love the story. Have you ever watched a movie that was just not really good? Right? Like you can say that, okay, this movie is trash. But you watched it because you wanted to see how things were going to end. So the movie itself was trash, but you just wanted to see how it's gonna end. So that's kind of like that's why some people are continuing to live their lives even when their lives suck. You know, they kind of want to see how the story is gonna end, and they also know that there will be a lot of people that will suffer if they decided to, you know, exit. We're kind of addicted to this thing, and most of us who are conscious know that, nah. You know, I understand that a lot of people are not conscious, and yes, there are people who are conscious, there are people who are not conscious. You know, sometimes it sounds bad to say that there are people who are conscious and the people that are not conscious, but it's true. You know, I've had conversations with a lot of people, and I know that some people are really not that conscious, and it's actually scary. Because growing up, I thought that everyone was conscious. Because that's the thing, you'd naturally assume that other people are like you, other people are as conscious as you are, other people can understand what you understand, but that's not how things work, bro. That is not how things work. That is why I'm actually fascinated with the problem of undermines. Like, is your blue my blue? Is your yellow my yellow? You know what I mean? Because we assume that we are experiencing reality the same way, but what if that's not the truth? What if we're not experiencing reality the same way? What if we're not even seeing the same things? So, it's I don't think we're some people are operating at the same level of consciousness, man. I don't think people are operating at the same level of consciousness. That's why we don't understand one another. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't express ourselves. We shouldn't try to have deep conversations, try to tell one another what we really think, so that we'll figure out what is more true. I think that is also important, you know. It is important to talk to people about why they have children, so that we'll see if they really know why they're having children. And it's good for people to have deep discussions about, you know, having children. Let's figure out what is best. Is it best to just stop reproducing? Are we going to find a way in the future where people will actually become not necessarily immortal, but where they will be able to choose whether they want to die or not? Because I think that's going to be possible. When you look at the rate that technology is actually growing, and you'll actually realize that we maybe 100 years from now, immortality in this realm, in this existence, will actually be possible. See, when you look at the rate that technology is actually growing, you see. And I actually do believe that immortality is already possible. They just wouldn't want to tell us because it will freak people up. If they say that human cloning was possible, don't you think that will freak people out? But obviously it is possible. If they can clone dogs, they can clone humans. It's just that some people just want to believe the narrative that they're given. I mean, you can see that it is obvious that human cloning is possible. How can you say it's not possible if they can clone animals? What makes you so different from animals? What makes humans so special? They'll give you an excuse that doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, we can't clone humans because of this. And no, they can clone humans. It's obvious that they can clone humans. It's not even a conspiracy theory. Like, it's a fact. It's obvious that they can clone humans. To get to the truth, you get to the truth through philosophy, really. You just think, try to connect the dots. You get to the truth. You know that, okay, this is the truth. This is what makes the most sense. If this is possible, that is possible. 1 + 1 is 2. Human cloning is already possible. Already cloning humans. A lot of things that are happening in front of us that we don't really understand are happening, you know. So yeah, maybe in the future they'll reveal it to us that, well, they're able to clone humans, they're able to make humans immortal. So that will be good, right? Maybe life will continue that way. People will still be there at the time. Well, they'll decide whether they want to continue to live or not, which will be beautiful, right? I wouldn't have a problem with people continuing to live their lives. Like, I'm not against life, and that's what needs to be understood. I'm not against people being alive. Yeah, I'm against new people being created and being trapped. You see, that is what I'm against. Because you create this new person and they're conscious and they have to experience life, you know, and they suffer. Some of them, you know, some of them don't really suffer that much, so they think that life is beautiful. What you must understand is that the way that you view life has to do with how you have experienced that. Your consciousness is finite. You gotta understand that. So, of course, you're going to be viewing life from your own perspective. That's how it works. So if life was good, then you'd actually think, I mean, if life was good to you, you'd actually think that life itself is good. So if someone else say that, nah, it isn't, you'd be like, no, what? I know people who have experienced life the way that you've experienced it. How can you think that it's not good if they're thinking that it's good? Like, no, just because two people grew up in the same environment doesn't mean that they've experienced life the same. You can grow up with someone in the same environment but get abused and they don't even see that you're getting abused. You see, you can grow up with someone in the same environment and get bullied and they don't even see that you're getting bullied. You can grow up in the same environment and just don't like it there because you're different. There are a lot of things that you're being made to do that you don't even want to do because you're just different. You just don't really like it there. That happens. That's life. That's how life works. People don't like the same things. So it is important that we have these conversations because these are real, these are real problems that we actually dealing with in life. Like, people are being born here without their consent, and that is a fact. And they have to endure their suffering because they were born here, because of these religious people who have been programmed. What I hate about religious people is that they're not really like that smart. They're not like these super smart people that know exactly what they're doing. I was having a conversation with this other Christian 2 days back, and I was telling him, yo, man, I don't really believe that what was written in the Bible about Jesus was true, but the Bible was written by people and who can write, by the way, who can write good stories. And people write stories based on how they experience life. The reason why Jesus was crucified was because he was telling people things that they couldn't understand, and he was crucified by people who are like you. People who were religious at that time. That's what you don't even realize. It's not like Jesus was crucified by people who didn't believe God exists. Atheists wouldn't crucify religious people. That's not how it works. Why will they do that? All these wars are started by people who believe that their God is real and other people are worshipping false gods. So they're like, we gotta attack them because they're worshipping false gods. See, that's how it works. That's how it has always worked. So Jesus was actually crucified by people who did believe that God exists. They just didn't believe that the God that Jesus said was his Father was actually the real God. But they did believe in a God. So that's the thing. They did believe in a God. They just didn't believe in the same God that Jesus believed in. I mean, some of them did, but they just didn't believe he was the son of that God. That's what must be realized. So, these people that will be criticizing people for not believing in God are the same people that will, the same kind of people that would have like crucified Jesus in real life if Jesus, someone like Jesus had to come and actually live in this world. Atheists wouldn't want to crucify a dude. Atheists will try to understand that dude. If you've watched the book of Clarence, you realize that Clarence was an atheist, right? But he didn't hate Jesus. He didn't have a problem with Jesus. He wanted to know him. Like, okay, how does Jesus perform his tricks? He was just curious. He didn't believe in God. And I think it's a brilliant movie. I've watched that movie like 5 times now. I love it. There's something about it, and I love that like Heath guy. He's actually my favorite actor right now. I loved him in Atlanta. Atlanta is the last episode of Atlanta, dude. It was all a dream. Nothing beats that. But yeah, atheists wouldn't want to like crucify someone for believing in a false God. They would want to talk sense into someone. If you believe in God and we can say that you're wrong, we want to talk to you. Let's figure out what's going on. Why do you believe what you believe? Do you believe what you believe because you know something that we don't know, or you're just insane? So people who are religious and are like these super conscious beings. They're just operating at a very low level of consciousness. Just basic humans. So it sucks that we believe that this is worth it because of religion. Oh, God created us. We must live. We must continue to be here because God created us. Whatever. Like, it doesn't even make sense, man. If we have free will, we should have the right to choose whether this makes sense or not. If we are honest with ourselves and realize that this doesn't make any sense, and then we must be able to say, okay, this doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't make any sense. That's if we are being honest with ourselves. I think it is good that there are people who are waking up, man. Like, really waking up. I'm not just talking about just realizing that we're being lied to, we're being manipulated, we've been indoctrinated, we're being brainwashed and all that, we're being shown false news, and like that's, you should know that, Like, I don't expect a person to not know that. I don't give a fuck how dumb you are. Like, I don't expect you to not know that that is what's going on. Now I'm talking about the highest level of awakening, like actually realizing that this realm itself is messed up. Realizing that, nah, the biggest sin was to actually make more people. I do believe that life will continue in this realm, but I think it will be better in the future if people who are continuing in this realm, or people who genuinely want to be in this realm, want to continue to create technology, whatever the end game is going to be, but it must be a choice. It must be a choice. We cannot be creating these new conscious beings and force them to eat our dirt, because that's what we're doing. We force them to actually love something that not everyone is going to love, and the more conscious people are, the harder it is for them to love this. And we kind of like do a lot of different things to make them love this. And if they don't love this, we try to make them believe that there's something wrong with them just because they do not love it, even if they have good reasons to not love this. That's horrible, man. That's horrible to do to someone. So a person comes in this world and say, I'm depressed. I don't feel okay. I've been bullied. I don't want to read these books. I'm tired, and we act like they're insane. Give them pills and all that. No, they're telling you something that is true, but you don't want to listen. They're telling you something that's true. You don't want to listen because you've been brainwashed. You tell yourself that there's something wrong with them because other children actually do want to study. If they actually do want to study, but I don't know if there are kids who actually do want to study, who actually do want to go to school. I've worked as a teacher, and I know that students do not want to go to school. They are forced to go to school because what can they do? There's a reason why whenever the bell rings, children, especially in primary school, they will celebrate. If they had to go back home early, they would celebrate like crazy. I know. I've worked as a teacher. I've seen how they celebrate. They will literally celebrate like crazy. They will dance. You know what I mean? You see that they're genuinely happy. If a teacher said, today you're going to go home early, they will not even listen to that teacher. We used to not even tell, like, let's just say we knew that, okay, they will have to go back home around 10. We will not tell them because we knew that we will not be able to teach them, because they will be happy the whole time. Like, it will be hard to like control them because they're so happy. I don't want to be locked up in one place and be forced to learn. But if you're going to send everyone to school, no one wants to be left home alone. So they're like, you know what, fine, let me just go to school. They want to be with other kids. That's why they love Saturdays. I remember when I was in high school, I loved Fridays, Saturdays. I hated Sundays because I knew that the next day I was going to go to school. I was going to have to go to school. Like, I hated being at school. So we're forcing children to do things that they do not want to do. And they have to do these things for a very long time. Like they have to go to school and study for a very long time. Because they gotta survive, right? That's how you survive in this realm, because most parents don't have shit. I mean, what do you even have to be wanting to bring someone into this existence? What do you have? What do you think that you're gonna give that person? This is a very important question. I mean, most of us don't really have money. Most of us don't really have power. Most of us cannot give our children the world that they really deserve. Most of us cannot get our children the kind of health care that they need when they are sick. Some of us cannot protect our children the way that they need to be protected. Some of us cannot teach our children what they need to be taught. Some of us cannot be there for our children even when they need it. That is why a lot of adults are broken. They just missed a few hugs. You just weren't there because you were working as a slave somewhere, and your children needed you, but you weren't there because you were working as a slave, and you weren't even making enough money to overcompensate for you not being there. I mean, you kind of like have to overcompensate, right? But you weren't even able to make money to compensate for not being there. You just broke. We have to be real with ourselves, man. Like, people are not real, are not honest with themselves. They are living a lie. And because of that, they suffer a lot and make other people suffer because they are not honest with themselves. If something isn't working, it is not working. I'm the type of person, I don't like forcing things. If something is not working, it's not working. I'm not going to force it to work. If I see that bringing a sentient being into this world, for me personally, is not a good idea, I'm not going to bring a person into this world that I don't even understand. Maybe people who understand what is going on, if there are people who understand what is going on, should be having children, but I don't understand shit. I might believe that this reality is a certain way. I might believe that, but I must not confuse belief with knowledge. So maybe people who know for sure what is going on should be having children because they know what is going on and they're going to teach their children the right things. I don't know, but I have no clue what is going on. I really have no clue what is going on. And I know that I'm living like a slave and I don't know what to do. You see, I don't know what to do to put myself in a much better position. I know that we work hard and when we work hard, things do get better for us, but I don't think I'll become super powerful. You know what I mean? Like, get to have billions and all that. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. And I think and I don't think I'm going to be showing the truth at some point so that I know what this is. Because without knowing what this is, you have to understand that you could be bringing your child into a prison for real. You could be bringing someone that you claim to love into a prison. Just completely backwards, if you really think about it. You cannot bring someone you love into a place that you don't even understand, where you see a lot of horrible things happening to people. You see, you will not be bringing that person because you love them. You'll be bringing that person into that realm because you kind of need them. You can't stand being alone in that realm. You need them. So you're like, you know what? I have an idea. I can bring another person to this realm. So why not bring another person to this realm? Because, well, I can. Maybe my life will be much better if I have this person in this realm. Some people have just given up in life. They don't know what to do with their life. So they're like, you know what? If I bring a little person and try to raise them, try to train them, maybe they'll become something in life, maybe they'll become something in life, and that will make me happy. That will make me happy to actually have raised someone who actually became something in life, because there's nothing that I can do. I don't have any skills. I don't have any talent. I'm not like super intelligent. I'm just a human, you know. All I know is how to eat, how to bath, how to shit, how to dress. You know, there's nothing special about me. I'm just like a basic human. So let me just bring another human, try to raise them. Maybe that person is going to be special and they'll become something in the future. And that is why there are a lot of parents who actually hate their children, because they've realized that, well, their children ain't going to be shit. I know parents who actually don't like their children. And that's wrong on so many levels. It's just wrong to bring your children into this world and actually hate them. Why do you hate your own children? You are the one who brought them into this world. You cannot hate them. Even if then you don't feel like they're good enough, you cannot hate them. You're the one who brought them here. They didn't come here because they wanted to be here. You know, they had no choice. You're the one who had a choice, and you made that choice to actually bring them here. So you should actually treat them like they did not ask to be here, not treat them as if they asked to be here. But I do know parents who just don't like their children, just because they feel like their children are not going to be much in life. And they had them because they felt like, well, maybe they can make it, you know. Maybe they can make it in this difficult world. So now, because they realize that there isn't much that children can do, they're like, there are people who have told me that if they were to restart their lives over again, I'm talking about people who are in their 40s and their 50s, if they were to restart their lives over again, they would not have children. There are people who have told me that. I'm talking about people who don't even know that I'm an internationalist. You know, people who didn't know that, you know, because there was a time when I would not even talk about antinatalism. I would just know that, okay, I don't want to have kids, but I would not like really talk to people about antinatalism. And besides, I only talk to people about antinatalism when I feel it's necessary. Like, if you're going to give me an opportunity to talk to you, that's when I'm going to talk to you. And I'm going to tell you the truth. But I'm not just going to like, go. Yeah, you should not have kids. I'm not the type of person. I'd rather wear a t-shirt that say with something written on it that says do not have children, something like that, so that people can ask me, what do you mean, so that I'll explain to them. Like, I don't want to like approach people like that, unless I'm trying to have a conversation with them, of course, on camera, which is something that I'm going to do soon. You know, try to ask people why they have children, why they feel like it's best to have children, especially here in South Africa, looking at the challenges that we're facing, you know. But there have been people who told me, there's one thing that I regret is having children. I'm talking about people who have children that are actually successful, you know. Like, their children actually doing better than most people. Yeah. And they'll tell me straight up, like, I wish I didn't have children so that I would have just enjoyed my life. I feel like my best years are gone, you know. Someone in their 50s telling you that. I feel like my best days are gone, and I've wasted them raising children. So if I were to change something in the past, I would have just not gotten married and would have not had children. I would have just enjoyed my money. I'm talking about people who actually do have money. I've been friends with people who have money, and they've told me that. So I know that, you know, people are not having children for the right reasons. You have to understand, people don't know what's going on, so they just do what other people are doing. I mean, if you don't know what's going on, what do you do? You're in a world that you don't understand, and you see some people doing something and they feel like they seem like they know what they're doing, so you just copy them. You just do what they're doing. Because what do you do? What do you do in a world that you don't understand? Life comes with no instructions. We're not given the truth. It's not like we know who created this, why they created this. We don't know why we exist. We have no clue what is going on. So, of course, we'll try to do what other people are doing without really understanding what they're doing. That's what's happening in this world. You're just copying one another. And that's how culture is created. Just people copying one another, and they end up being like, oh, yeah, this is the best way to live. This is what we must do. And if someone else tells them that, okay, that's not the best way to live, we must try to, think deeply about what we're doing, they think that that person is wrong, that person is evil, blah, blah, blah. It's really sad that we live in a world where truth is not valued, like the real truth is not valued in this world. It's lies that are valued. I remember when I was talking to this guy that I was telling you about, I told him that you want to know why people believe in any religion? It's because they don't want to accept the truth. If you can tell them something that is interesting, a story that is interesting that is not true, they will believe you. They love stories. Humans love stories. That's why they watch movies. That's why some people, a lot of people actually watch professional wrestling. Why would you watch professional wrestling? You know that everything is staged, but you watch these guys, come up with stories, but you know what I mean? So you love stories. I remember when I was young, I told him this. I was like, when I was young, we were told that a child was born, and this child was born with beard. Like, this child was already old. And this child said, on the first day they were born, this child said, we must wear ropes all over our bodies, something like that, and towels as well. Don't really remember. And I'd see old people wearing towels and robes, like they looked stupid. And I remember telling even my friends, they believed that, so they were wearing robes and towels. And I'll tell them, like, yo, this is stupid. I was like the only one who did. That's why I trust myself, bro. That is why I trust myself. I was like the only one who was not wearing that shit. Everyone was wearing that shit. I was the only one who was not wearing that shit. You'd see people in the street, like old people, wearing that shit. And I was like, what? What's wrong with people? People love to believe in superstition. They love these crazy stories, bro. That is why where I live, people believe in witchcraft. They believe that some people fly on a broom, stuff like that. I'm not saying there's no witchcraft. There are people who can do crazy shit, and I don't even think these people are like us. I've been telling y'all that I think we're not alone in this world. I think there are beings that can do things that we cannot do. That's why we have technology right now. I don't believe that a normal human being like me can create anything technological. There's just some advanced beings that can do some stuff that I just cannot do. So yes, witchcraft does exist, but it's not what we think it is. People just want to believe good stories, I guess. So, and when you read the Bible, it's full of good stories that are interesting to believe. So why would they not believe these stories? They are humans. Humans want to believe these good stories. There's in the beginning there was God. He created whatever, created humans, and humans sinned. After they sinned, he decided to punish them by kicking them out of this beautiful place that he created for them, and they had to suffer because of that. It got to a point where things were so bad that God just decided to flood the whole planet, I think that's gonna happen actually. I think, but not. I don't think it's God that's gonna be flying the planet. I just think that's gonna happen. I mean, Earth is like 70% water, right? That's true, but it seems true. So that's probably gonna happen. But you do understand that if that's if that was to happen, no one will like really create something that would be strong enough, unless they were able to create aircraft that are gonna like be above like satellites, But no one will be able to create a ship that will be able to withstand that. But we'll have good stories. God decided that he's no longer gonna kill everyone on earth. So he decided to send his only son to die for our sins, so that whoever believes in him shall not die but have eternal life. Blah 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 blah. Be like, I don't want to have eternal life. Shit. if not believing in Jesus means that this is the end, I'm good, bro. Like that's what I would want, That's 100% what I would want. If not believing in Jesus meant that this is the end, woo, that would be beautiful. They said no, it actually means that you're going to hell and burn for eternity. Like why would I need to burn for eternity just because I didn't believe in Jesus? Like that's just wrong. Like now God doesn't send people to hell. People send themselves to hell by not believing in Jesus. Like what? So I'll be with the devil, but the devil didn't like God, so he probably won't torture me because I'm kind of like him, I don't agree with the Christian God, or Allah, or the Abrahamic God. I just don't agree with the Abrahamic God. I think he was evil, and I don't agree with evil. I won't side with evil. Evil is evil. I will side with something good all the time. I'll side with truth all the time. But yeah, man. We are in a crazy world, and I think antinatalism makes the most sense, realizing that no, it is a crazy world, and it will be hard for someone conscious to love this. If you have children, you just pray that they're not super conscious, because the more conscious you become, even like when you think of the spiritual teachers that the said gurus, I don't think they would want to be back here, like we want to reincarnate back here, forget everything that they know and start over. I don't think they would really want that. I think I've seen a video where someone asked said guru, yo, what do you think we should do? And he said we must just stop having children. And that was spiritual teachers that I've heard saying that actually we should just stop having children. That's already too many people anyway. Why are we having children? Because we still because of our ego, we're like, okay, I wanna leave something, I want to leave a legacy or something like that. It sucks. It's childish when you think about it. Like that's a very bad reason to be having children. So the more conscious you become, the harder it will be for you to actually want to have children. You see, even if you do have children, because it can happen that you become very conscious, but you haven't suffered enough and you don't really care about the truth. There are people who are very conscious who just don't care about the truth. They don't have to care about the truth. So they have children. That does happen. But they know the truth. If you try to talk to them, because they know that you'll be telling them the truth, they will kind of agree with you. But not fully, because we are humans and we're full of shit. But antinatalism makes the most sense at this point. But it's always made sense, actually, not just at this point. It has always made sense because society has always sucked anyway. It's not like it's not like things were working out. Things never worked out like that, you know. Things like there's always been people who were suffering like crazy, not because they were doing something wrong, but because they were born in a world where people suffer. So if you're an internationalist, if you feel bad sometimes, just remind yourself that you've actually made the best decision that a human being can make. Just remind yourself that you've actually made the best decision that a human can make. Being an internationalist is the best decision that you can make as a human. This world really sucks, and you are conscious. That should actually help you make the right decision. You can't just act like you are not conscious. There are people who actually believe that internationalists are wrong because they are standing in the way of nature. Every living being has been programmed to reproduce, to make copies of itself, right? And internationalists are like, no, that is wrong. Like, no. Actually, the ability to judge comes with being conscious. Like, it's part of life. We were given that ability. We're given the ability to think for ourselves, to think rationally. So we don't just do things just because they are natural, because we are conscious. That's what makes us better than most animals. Most animals don't think like we can. So isn't it better to think deeply because we can? Consciousness is more important than life itself. Actually, just awareness itself, is more important than these things that we're seeing that we call life. In the way I look at it, awareness itself is life. So awareness itself has a right to judge itself. If we were in a simulation and there were so many things wrong in that simulation, it wouldn't mean that we'll be like, well, we must just continue to do whatever we're programmed to do, even if we see that there's something wrong in the simulation, because whoever created the simulation wanted this simulation to be like this. No, we are conscious. We're able to see if something isn't right. And if we're able to see that something isn't right, we must act like something isn't right. You see? That's important. There's a lot of grass, man. Like, it rained a lot in December. It even rained in January. To understand why there's a lot of grass. Antinatalism makes the most sense, man. Think about it. If you're an internationalist, think about this. Like, if you had children, can you imagine what they would be going through right now? How would you be feeling right now? There will be people who are suffering because you brought them into this world, for real. You understand that antinatalism really does make the most sense. There will be suffering. I mean, they will be having this experience, but really, is it worth the suffering? Is it good to be in jail where you're being abused every day just for the sake of having an experience? Is it good to be in hell where you're tortured 24/7 just for the sake of having an experience? Non-existence is better than being in hell. You see, non-existence is better than being in hell. It's better than being in a place where you're being tortured 24/7. That is horrible. You don't want to be in a place where you're being tortured 24/7. You don't want to be in a place where you have to compete for survival. If you don't want to be in that place, there's going to be more like hell, you know, and you're not really going to like it very much, especially if you are that conscious. Thank you all, guys.